pretended it was a Super Bowl and they caught all these criminals and they were cheerleaders and bands and mascots, and it was hilarious and weird, and even the newscasters were laughing at the time. When I look at those individuals that I admire the most, like Stephen King, Agatha Christie, in the literary world, and then even the older filmmakers like Clint Eastwood and all, they just go and make another movie. They just make another movie, and when you do that, there's a humility to that you're putting it in the right place in your life, the balance of it, that it's just you and the characters. Don't worry about the outcomes as much, and just tell that story on that day. Get up in the morning and work on that story with those characters. It's kind of a beautiful blue-collar way to think about art. Yeah, that color about that incident, the thing that was interesting about that came a little bit later in the process of the movie. It kind of started as a very complicated conceit, which was Salika and I sitting down and saying, can we make a movie where you write a full album for a narrative? Instead of thinking of it in a traditional way, you make an album, you write a music video, you make a music video, and all of that, right? We'll come up with a narrative, and a thriller narrative, and the characters are watching this album, and it can feel this alive, like Purple Rain, but there's a thriller. Could you and I think about it? She said, let's think about it. Then I came up with the idea of being in an arena and that maybe someone's being trapped, and then I remembered this incident from the 80s where they did this really funny, weird sting operation where they pretended it was a Super Bowl and they caught all these criminals. And they were cheerleaders and bands and mascots, and it was hilarious and weird, and even the newscasters were laughing at the time, but they caught all these really bad dudes. I mean, having your family close is a critical part, I think, with them, they'll tell you, I don't like, two of them live in New York and I hate it. they'll tell you, oh, come on, let us have some life. But, for me, it's not much different than what I did for myself, which is, hey, I want to learn art at the highest level, and I want to protect myself and then reintegrate myself into the industry. And so in that way, trying to make sure that they have the greatest relationship to their art form. And we talk about the ethics of art a lot, that it's about that process between you and your art form is the most important thing. Don't worry about anything else, and don't try to scam the system or anything. You'll hate yourself for it, and the audience will feel that. Gosh, I just don't know how I get so lucky. The right person walks in at the right time, and Josh walked in, and we had just the greatest time making this movie. It was ideal in every way. We spent more than a month just talking about the script, just one page at a time, just walking through it methodically. I remember the first day, and we only got through 3 pages. He was like, how long is this gonna take? I was like, I don't know, it'll go faster tomorrow. And it didn't go faster. We just kept talking about it. But what came out of that was an infrastructure, an emotional infrastructure, where he got underneath me and understood what I wrote, and could defend and understand it. And together we could articulate, oh, this movie is about this feeling about his daughter, or this is what, when he does something bad to people, this is why he does it, those kind of things. There's a naturalism to film that really, that's the way I see the world. I'm not a big digital guy. The slickness, that's not how I see the world, Like, we're sitting in this room and I'm seeing the texture of your shirt, your hair, the way, all of that, and I see it in a certain way that feels like life, the way your pants are, and I want to feel those things. I don't want to feel it sharper than I'm feeling it. I don't want to feel that kind of digital. There's something about the chemical thing about film that its limitations are quite beautiful. Yeah, my philosophy goes that because I make such point of view intense movies, I'm very strict about it. So you can cheat because you want the result, but that will undermine you in the long run of the movie because the audience will detach from the main character. So the example I always give to filmmakers is, in the middle of a night of a scary movie, if a character goes to make a sandwich in the middle of the night, and the scary music starts as she's walking to the kitchen, that's cheating. She doesn't feel that way about the sandwich. If she did, she wouldn't make a sandwich, right, at that moment. No music. She walks down the hall, and you're terrified because you're going, should I be scared? Should I not be scared? She doesn't seem scared. So it's an ethic about how to tell the story. That ethic over and over and over again creates this great connection with the characters. Well, I loved Godzilla -1. Really shocked at how much I loved it. I felt it was effortlessly entertaining and emotional, and they're trafficking such tired subject matter, almost a joke, and yet I was totally in. And in the end, I was so emotional. I'm like, how it's so beautiful how great storytelling is when it's so simple. I mean, bravo to those guys.
Vous connaissez le boucher? L'espèce de taré qui se balade et qui s'amuse à découper ses victimes. Ben, le FBI ou je ne sais qui, ils ont appris qu'il allait venir ici aujourd'hui. Du coup, ils ont monté tout ça juste pour lui. Tout ce concert, c'est un piège.